a father and his son. But hearing you tell that story, I hadn't heard that story before. But clearly, I'm doing the same things that you were doing.
Yeah, because curiosity, boys and curiosity.
Yes.
Because I recall, and that, as you said, don't try some of these things, but I recall, going to school,
right,
and some of the guys would take off and go to the river. Go to the river.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, to swim, or catch some fish, whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember going with them one of these, and we had to cross a bridge, a high bridge. When you're a kid,
right,
if it's 10 feet up, it looks like it's
yes.
So, but anyway, we went there, and the guys started to dive off not from the bridge, but from some of the rocks there was a big hole, as it were, with water pool, and someone, I think one of the guys, not from my group, but
right,
died in there, drowned in there.
And you went there after all of that?
Oh yes,
to swim, man, brave, wow.
And dove off into the water.
Wow.
And it's a deep hole there,
no.
and it's almost like there's a waterfall there. So
No, sir.
so there is it's was known to have more like one of these swirling thing that could suck you in that
And
way.
that
And so, but everybody was
what?
like I said, do not follow what other people do, because you could get in trouble, because everybody was doing it, and I'm with them now, and so I decided to do it too. Fortunately, I was able to swim out of it, but there are people who don't experience the same.
Man, wow. So everyone, I can say now that I clearly have a better understanding of why I did a lot of things in life over the years. Some, I might have thought were brave, but from the outside looking in, they were just plain dumb. They just were not smart at all. But man, that's interesting. I'm interested to find out where all of this conversation continues with your experiences, because and I'll make this statement here because we'll cover it in later sessions, but one of the topics that we're going to get to when we start talking about discipline and kind of how the raising process happened is how much experience do you share with your kids versus how much you hold back until when they're older. And again, I'm connecting a lot of dots in hearing some of these stories, and we've had conversations about this over the years where I may say something and then you'll recount an experience that was similar, and I was like, wait a minute, why didn't you tell me that? If I had known that, I mean, it probably wouldn't have stopped me from doing it, but at least I would be able to say, oh man, that's where it came from. That's why I'm interested in that, or that's why I'm just curious about it, So, all right, so now let's go back. All right. So you're starting to see me, come into my personality, start, I guess, finding out who I'm going to be. So what were some of the things that you noticed that gave you some clues as to my inquisitive mind, or like where you thought that the path that you thought I would take in life?
Now, I wasn't quite sure the direction you would go in terms of a professional
Right.
Path, but I knew you had the ability, and you demonstrated that you had the ability to do things. One thing that I also noticed, and that was really a reflection of myself, and that is when once you're committed to something.
man.
Once you're committed to something, you're all in. You know, I mean, you're all in, and
Oh man.
it's almost like a kind of stubbornness where you know, and it's hard to, well, you're going to get into discipline afterwards,
Yeah.
but it's kind of it's that kind of focus that you have once you have decided, well, okay, I'm going to do this.
Right.
Then you're going at it, and you're going for it, and that's how my life was.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. So that's a good point, because and we'll talk about the later stages of life where we started seeing the switch, where you flip the switch on and off based on making that decision. And we'll also talk about why it seems that we take a longer time to make a decision.
Yes.
We seem to take a longer time to make a decision for that very simple fact that once we come to a decision, or we've thought about it, we've weighed it, both sides, and we've come to a decision, then that's pretty much where we're going. I mean, that's you in your mind, you've done everything you could, and that thing. So we'll talk about that later on in life. But I want to go back a little bit to the obedience side of things. So as you're seeing the curiosity and some of these things unfold, can you tell me how hard was it to discipline me when you first had to discipline me? So the very first time that you can remember where I did something that I shouldn't have done. Now I know we're going to come back to this conversation multiple times over the years of life. But, if we're talking about your first encounter with discipline with me, give me your thoughts on it and like how you felt.
Well, first of all, I, of course, I don't remember the first time, but the concept, and then we're going to be discussing that in more detail. But for my philosophy was, here's my son, well, my daughter's same thing. They're doing something, and I say, don't do that.
Right.
And they pull away their hand, maybe if it's like, don't touch that thing.
Right.
And they pull away their hand for a little, and then they look at you and kind of walk a little closer to it. Not stretching the hand yet, just walking a little closer to it.
Man.
And giving an eye as to whether you are watching. I'm watching, and got a little closer and closer until the hand starts going up again to touch it. And so I would say,
oh, man,
don't do that. But if they happen to touch it, I would tap them on the hand and say, well, no, remember? I said, you're not to touch it. All right, and then it's not so much the pain, because there was no pain at that point. It's just a thing. They started crying, because I guess
the reprimand.
Yes, and the feelings got hurt.